Hey everyone, it's Katie from Moonflower Moments. I thought that I would make a video in which I just share with you what the vibes are. So what decks are on my desk and what decks am I using. Now, I primarily try to listen to my gut when it comes to picking out decks. And so if I sit down at my desk and I have 10 decks selected, but none of them are calling to me, I do break from that and I will try to work with what is calling to me in that moment. I find that's very important. But I still find myself leaning towards certain vibes at certain times of the year. So I've gotten really good at predicting what kind of decks would fit in what kind of season. So I want to share with you the decks that I have been working with or the decks that I suspect that I probably will be working with in the coming weeks. So first on the list is going to be my Mushroom Hunters Tarot, and let me back that up so y'all can see more clearly. So it has been raining a lot here in South Louisiana. I think my yard alone got probably about 6 inches worth of rain in just the last couple of days. And so we are very flooded out. And with flooded, I mean that we have mushrooms galore. And so I feel like this is just a natural choice to represent this time of year. We are settling into that time period where mushrooms are just popping up everywhere. And so this is an energy that I want to lean into. This is an energy that I want to work with. And we do have predicted some really bad weather that's coming this week, like a possible tropical storm or hurricane. And so then I know my yard is just going to be continually flooded with all of this water. I think water and mushrooms is just the vibes for the next couple of weeks. So I'm leaning in towards that and seeing what it has to teach me. So this is the Mushroom Hunters Tarot, and I will say that in the guidebook, every mushroom is explained and connected directly towards tarot imagery, so it does list for you what the mushroom is and how it relates to the tarot. So I really appreciate how well that's done. So Mushroom Hunters. Next is going to be my Little Birds Tarot, and it's specifically because of some of the crafts that I've been making in addition to some of the birds that have come around. So I have been making these little crafts. Hopefully they'll show up. I'm gonna get some of the smaller ones to give away after I give tarot readings at a little local market. And so I pressed flowers already. So what I did is I just ran my stuff through a lamination machine, and some of it's really pretty and super floral. Some of it's just pretty basic, but I had a bunch of dried flowers that I was using. And so I wanted to give some of these away as little tokens of appreciation to people who get tarot readings from me. So I'm going to be giving those away and making more of those pretty soon, but I've been pretty wrapped up in botanicals, but botanicals in more like a laid back capacity. So usually when I work with art, I am trying to layer as many flowers on the pages as much as possible, but you can't really do that with a laminator. You're working with things that are more sparse and pared back. And so that of course reminds me of the Little Bird Tarot, because it definitely has botanicals, but the botanicals are more pared back since this is like a bird deck, and so they're not the focus of the imagery. So I think that just like that nice, clean, crisp, little botanical kind of nature fits this well. I'm also starting to see a lot of hummingbirds. So if you watched any of my videos over the summer, you know that I talked about the Gulf fritillary butterflies that were outside of my house every single day. Well, the Gulfies have gone home. This is their home. They migrate some to Florida, but for the most part, the Gulfies have moved on. A lot of their plant species has died back that they like to eat, so they're no longer as abundant. But we do have hummingbirds absolutely galore. And so every day when I walk out to my garden, I'm looking at my flowers expecting to see Gulf fritillaries, and I'm not. I'm seeing the hummingbirds. And so I think that this is a perfect little deck to embrace that hummingbird energy, knowing that it is fleeting and they won't stay around forever. And I think that kind of reminds me of the little birds, right? Because this imagery is so sparse, there is that sense of fleetingness to it, but that deep sense of, I want to learn the message from you while I can. Sometimes I feel like when we have more white space in the cards, it kind of makes the imagery even more important because it's so pinpoint and focused. And I definitely think that that's bird energy. They're not going to stay around very long, but like these cards that have a lot of white space, they want you to focus on the message that they're trying to teach you and get what you need to get before you move on, or before they move on. So this was Little Birds. All right, next I have a little bit of a pair. So I am currently working with Southern Gothic right now and Mystical Dreams Tarot. So I'm working with these guys together. So I have previously struggled with Southern Gothic because I do have the expansion pack mixed in. So you can see that it has some pretty intense keywords such as cruelty and fear factor and things like that. And so I think because I have mixed in the shadow pack into the Southern Gothic, I find that it tends to run a little bit more shadowy than what I'm always prepared for. So I usually am very hesitant with bringing it in, even with like the base pack without even the shadow pack moved in, like division lessening, that could be seen as a more shadowy word. And I'm not saying that I want to have oracles that are like lighthearted and fluffy, but sometimes I don't want to get hit with like jealousy and dangerous urges. Like sometimes I know I need to hear the message, but I'm not quite ready to receive it. So I tend to be a little bit hesitant of bringing in Southern Gothic. However, I've had a lot of things that are shifting in my life. I feel like I'm in an expansion right now to where I'm currently going through a death, and I am looking forward to the future, like Three of Wands. That's really kind of where I'm sitting. And so I need an oracle that's able to do that heavy work with me, and I need it to be paired with a tarot that's able to do that heavy work. So Mystical Dreams is typically the deck that I use for grief work, and I think because I feel like my identity is dying in that kind of way, but I say it as a bad thing, but it really is such a beautiful thing. I think that when we strip everything back to its like most basic layers, we get to know who we are, and I'm really excited for that. But I think that Mystical Dreams can allow me to do that work and is willing to sit beside me as I do it. So this is my little pair, and you know, I've had these decks with me since the beginning of time. I mean, these are some of my very first decks that I ever purchased, and I don't think I ever realized quite how good they look together until now. So it's a little bit of a superficial thing, but I think they go like aesthetically and also thematically together. So this was Southern Gothic. It's definitely helping me through some shadow work I have and Mystical Dreams. Okay, another deck that I've been using, and I try to kind of like clean up my reading table every week. So if I kind of like evaluate the decks that are on it and switch it out every week. This one has been on here for 3 weeks straight, and I can't seem to get rid of it, and I can't stop thinking about it. And y'all are gonna think I'm crazy because I switched around, but that's the nature of things. But it's my Queen of the Moon Oracle. And I have said in previous videos that this deck, I struggle with, I don't like. I said that the one keyword just doesn't work for me. But guys, then I edged the deck. And I did it in this orange color, which if you have watched my other videos, you know I'm currently obsessing with. And after I edged it in orange, I was like, you know what? I think this deck is for me. I know that's superficial, but it was part of the bonding process for me. So Queen of the Moon Oracle and I are having a moment right now because being that I am in the thick of school, I do not have time to do a lot of full-blown readings. My mind is really just kind of consumed with all of the various things that I'm having to do on the day-to-day. I have a very like mentally exhausting job, especially in the role that I'm in right now. And so just to have one keyword to ground me, to help me through my day, something that's clear and concise that you can't argue with, it really does help me to focus on what the day could be and what I could make it be. So I've been using this like mad as my daily draw almost every single morning, which is so unusual for me because I am mostly a tarot girl, not so much an oracle girl, but I'm leaning into it. You know, I think that that's part of my transition is if right now I feel like I'm experiencing that death card within myself. I pulled the Tower this morning actually for my self-identity, and I'm leaning into that Three of Wands. I think it's natural that my tarot practice is going to reflect that and is going to change as well. So, you know, to meet the hectic demands of my life, but as well just to see that I'm growing and changing and the way that I'm thinking about things is too. So Queen of the Moon with an edge. I like my edge job on that one. I think I did pretty good. All right, and so reflective of the fact that I'm becoming a lot more accepting of oracles, I also have shifted my mind on this one. This is the Earth Wisdom Oracle. I edged this one in purple. I'm still not sure how I feel about the purple, but I wanted to give it a little bit of a Halloween or like definitively autumn vibe. So I think that that accomplished it for sure. So I've also been using this deck for my daily pulls. There's something about having one keyword that has really been vibing with me. I like this one in particular because I feel like it's kind of a self-help deck, like healing grief, big picture, creativity, freedom, heal thyself, I mean, I think, wait, didn't we just have heal something? Healing grief, heal thyself? Yeah, it's definitely a self-help deck. And because I'm doing some pretty heavy work with some themes that are coming around my life, because I'm open to that self-transformation, I am finding these words to be incredibly, incredibly valuable. So I think originally when I bought this deck, I thought that I could use it to work with other people, but I don't think that's where its niche is. I think its niche is with reading for me directly. So I like it. I'll just go ahead and show the rest because I'm right there. There we go. Heart healing. Beautiful. It definitely says healing more than once. I don't think I ever realized that before this video, but I'm going to give it a go. So that was Earth Wisdom. Another deck I've been using like mad has been my Little Wizards Tarot. So this features Harry Potter. It's a little Harry Potter tarot. And since school just started, I really love to use this deck as a daily draw deck. This is actually, I think, my preferred daily draw deck along with the Queen and the Moon right now, because I like to see the different ways that the characters are playing out with each other. That brings me a lot of joy, to be able to, that I know these characters so intimately and so deeply, and I know so much about them that if I'm pulling these cards, I can definitely see how it can relate to my own student's life, to my life, to my coworker's life. I mean, I work in a school. The setting of this deck is in a school, so I just feel like it makes sense. So I always tend to pull this deck out around August, but like September, October, November is really where it shines the most as a deck to help me manage what I'm going through in school, but also as like the days get colder. Like right now I think it was like 82 degrees, which in Louisiana is fabulous. I am definitely soaking up this day before we get that tropical storm rain that's coming, but I'm going to appreciate it for what it is and try to stay present in it. But I think that as the temperatures are getting cooler, and believe it or not, 82 is very cool for here, I definitely want something that's more cozy, and I want to be able to return back to the things that made me happy when I was a child. And when I'm reading Harry Potter, which is of course the series, I have a Harry Potter tattoo with my brother, so it definitely shaped my life fundamentally. I'm able to go back to the things that comforted me as a child. And I think especially when school is in such full bloom, I tend to reread Harry Potter at least once a year because I want to be reminded of that comfort, but I also want that something that my mind can just sink into naturally and can just enjoy naturally. So this is Little Wizards Tarot by Harry Potter. That's also on the vibe list. I am going to say that Chomata Emblemata has 1000% been the vibe. Guys, this is such a powerful little reader. I had shown this deck in my decks I'm using at my first tarot event video, and that was like maybe about 2-3 weeks ago. I also have another tarot event that's coming up in about 2 weeks, and I 1000% am going to use this deck. This deck has an uncanny ability to where I very rarely look at the imagery. I always look at the words. Oftentimes the words will answer the querent's questions in a way that is spot on. So like I remember pulling this card for someone and he asked me like how his job interview would go, and I got good luck. I just, my eyes like hyper focused on that, and that's all I could see and that's all I could focus on. And so the answer was very much that he would have good luck and he did get the job. So I think that that works out. He was putting himself in that Page of Pentacles position as someone that works in the craftsmanship kind of field. So definitely was given Pentacles, definitely was given good luck. He got the job, da 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 da. So I think that I've seen what this deck can do. I've seen how straightforward this deck can be for others. And so this is 1000% something that I will be using in the coming weeks. I also think that it has just such a beautiful like set of tonals for this time of year. The color scheme is just perfect. A shine in the dark for Ace of Cups. Stunning. This is so beautiful. I can't think of a better time of year to use this deck than right now, right? Because we're not quite into fall yet. We're almost there. I mean, I think we just have a couple more weeks, if even that. But I'm starting to notice that the weather is shifting, and so I want something that's more pared back and more reflective of those cozy days at home when you're reading books and you're escaping into your library. I have a little library nook up in my bedroom. I just have like a little area with a bookshelf and like a nice comfy chair, and I feel like this deck would definitely match that area. As a matter of fact, now that I'm talking about it, I'll probably bring this deck upstairs because I think it needs to be in my little library nook. This is a little library deck. All right, and then I have my last one. I have Tarot the Moon Garden. I did edge this one in green. I don't know if I love it, but that's okay. I don't know if I really care. Sometimes it's fun just to edge a deck, and I think I do need to go over it. So once I go over it again, I think that the color will saturate more, and I'll probably have more warm and fuzzy feelings towards it. The honest to God, like, truth is that I really wanted to edge it in this purple, but I was too scared to, so c'est la vie, we got green, it'll be fine. So this is Tarot of the Moon Garden. This is definitely the vibe right now because the days are getting shorter, but my yard is still very lush. We do have like a lot of like things that are decomposing with like the mushroom energy, like I had spoken about earlier, because it is so wet. But for the most part, the garden is really, really beautiful right now. I am so proud of all the work that I've put in. And I like to use this deck at the beginning of the season when I'm doing my brainstorming and I'm thinking about what to plant where. I really enjoyed that practice, and I know I've spoken about that here. But I think that I want to use this deck towards the end of the season too, just to like kind of wallow in all of the good ways, kind of relish in what I accomplished. You know, I can think back to pulling particular cards and that kind of making a decision of what I planted where within reason. Of course, you have to keep in mind like light requirements and like also water requirements and things like that. But I definitely use this to design my garden this year and decide what kind of plants I should prioritize planting. So now that those are in full bloom, to bring this back out and to sit in the garden with this is just a beautiful, warm, domestic feeling unlike anything else. And of course, right now we are in Virgo, so we are in the earth sign. And so I'm leaning into that earth energy like I tend to do with my little Virgo rising and enjoying the fruits of my labor, I would say. This definitely feels like a Seven of Pentacles deck too. It's an interesting thought. I feel like it's a Seven of Pentacles because so often that card can be interpreted as like you're waiting for your fruits to ripen, which definitely fits for like the brainstorming part of using this deck. But it's also a Seven of Pentacles because it's like you've done the work, so now you get to kind of step back and wait. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever made that connection before. I'm gonna have to think about that some more. So yeah, guys, that was it. So I really appreciate you spending this time with me. I just really wanted to show you what's on my desk, what I've been working with, what my energies have been. I didn't do a monthly wrap up this past month for August because I was just too busy. So I was like, you know what? I do want to show you what I've been up to. It's too late to do the monthly wrap up. I'm very much the kind of person that if it's like three days past, like when I think it should be done, like I just move on. And so I still wanted to show you what was going on in a way. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Every like, every comment, I read everything that you send me. I appreciate everything you send me, and I'm always happy to have y'all here. So thank y'all so much, and I'll see you next time.